Welcome to the Impumelelo Empowerment Series. I'm Akash Bramdio. This program brings you face-to-face with South Africa's top empowerment leaders. And this week I'm speaking to the CEO of the Umsobomvu Youth Fund, Malusi Kekana. Malusi, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Tell us about the origins of this particular fund.
The fund came about as a result of the demutualization in order to capitalize it.
And this was the demutualization of Old Mutual and Sanlam shares.
Yes, and this was a levy that government put in place to fund the youth fund. That was in 2001 when we started. We've been focusing on various youth development initiatives.
How much money did you have when you first started off? Because it was quite a considerable amount.
Yeah, it was 855 million plus interest of about 100 and odd million rand. So when we started, we had about plus minus 900 million rand.
How much of that money have you been able to spend thus far?
On projects, we spent about 900 million. And of course, with our operating overheads and expenses, that would be around 1.2 million rand. So, the additional money we got from the interest income and also from our operating, profits that we make, from.
Tell me, what was the thinking when this fund was started? What was its primary aim?
The fund was first discussed, or the possibility of a fund was first discussed during the Job Summit in 1998, really in light of the fact that government saw the huge challenges that faced the youth and youth development. And then it was felt that one of the issues that had to be addressed was to create a fund specifically to address the challenges that face young people. And so that was really what motivated the setting up of this type of fund.
And how do you go about doing that? How do you help these young people? They're aged between 18 and 35, if my memory serves me correctly.
Our target market is 18 to 35. We run a couple of programs, three main areas. One is just on information and counseling, which is in relation to careers, employment, information about where to get things related to careers and, and employment and starting your own business. The second area is skills development. We manage the National Youth Service Program. We're training young people in a variety of sector skills. And then, of course, then we've got the youth entrepreneurship, which is probably what we are known most for. That where we've got the voucher program, where we give business support to young people. This is non-financial support, business plans and so on. And of course, then we have the lending, which is also quite a big book, which we run, where we lend from 1,000 to 8 million rand.
Okay, I want to start a business and I need finance. Why would I come to you as opposed to going to a bank?
Yeah, I think the requirements we have as opposed to a bank are a little bit different. We lend to people who normally would not be considered by banks because they don't have security, they don't have 10% contribution, and they have very little prior record in terms of being in business. Sometimes they're doing business in townships as opposed to, some of the areas where banks would traditionally lend into. So that's really why people would come to us. And so we lend against cash flows. We look at the person in terms of are they able to make the business work as opposed to what is it that they are putting on the table. Of course, if you do have some kind of security or collateral, we do require you to put it in.
So if I did decide to, come to you, I needed finance to start up a particular business, I'd borrow the money from you and then I'm required to pay it back.
Yeah, it's a loan.
What sort of interest would I be charged?
Our interest rates are prime linked, and we are regulated. We are a regulated lender in terms of the National Credit Regulation Act. So we would charge around prime, and sometimes, especially on the bigger transactions, averaging 3 to 4 or 5 million rand, we will obviously enhance our return by taking an equity stake of around about 20, but definitely less than 40%, 49%.
How successful have you been in recuperating loans?
Yeah, our bad debts on the micro loans hovering around, average of around 20%. And on the small and medium enterprise, which is the loans from 100,000 average loan size of 500,000, there we've written off about between 3 and 7% Obviously, we've got 3 funds. One is with First National Bank. We've got a 320 million rand fund with them, and we've got a 125 million rand fund, franchise fund with the business partners, and we have our own fund which we manage internally for about 120 million. So that's what we do.
Now, if I was starting up a company, I mean, are there certain companies that you don't lend money to, or do you lend to, you know, CCs, PTYs? What sort of companies? Is there a specific company that I need?
Yeah, I mean, we lend to cooperatives. We lend to all forms of corporate entities, whether it be a CC and so on. We lend to groups, we lend to individuals. So really the form in terms of the type of company we lend to. But there are certain type of loans that we wouldn't make. For example, we don't lend businesses that are funding property stock, bricks and mortar and so forth, because the return tends to be a longish duration, and we want to turn our money over frequently. We also don't lend to agriculture because we don't understand it, and
that's fair.
Yeah, that requires a bit of specialized skill which we don't have. So, but otherwise and of course illegal activities we lend to.
Yes, I'm sure you would. Tell me, would you say, Malusi, that you've been successful in achieving the aims you set out to?
I mean, if one of our vision was to ensure the mainstreaming of the youth economic participation, because up until then youth tended to be on the margins of economic participation. We have created over 47,000 jobs since we've started, and also we have succeeded in making people aware that young people are a viable risk that you can lend to. So I think we have achieved our objective of mainstreaming youth participation in the mainstream of the economy. Young people are running franchises, they're running big businesses, they're creating jobs and so on. So I think by and large we have succeeded.
Now you've got 2010 coming up.
Yeah.
Any special plans in regard to that?
We are looking at a volunteer program. We have entered into an exclusive relationship with the company that did the training for the volunteer program, for the whole volunteer program for Germany 2006, and they will be giving us the capacity, and hopefully we'll strike a relationship, part of the youth service program to train volunteers for 2010. But other than that, I think we'll be looking at those entrepreneurs that want to get into business related to that tournament.
And very quickly, do you think that the fund's got a long future, or is it more of a short to medium term future?
The fund has got a long term future. This year we received 400 million from the budget. So we have to we are spending more this year than we spent over two years ago, and our commitments, will only go one way, which is up.
Malusi, thank you very much for taking the time to come and chat to us.
Thank you.